Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rance, your host here, and we are broadcasting for the next 2 hours in Baton Rouge at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. We always love coming here once a month to BRQ because, we're going to get our grub on. And today at BRQ, they're open 7 days a week, but today at BRQ, big day because of college graduations, high school graduations, hair school graduation,
everything.
You name it, right? That's going to be going on. Again, big groups over here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. It's right on Jefferson Highway, 10423 Jefferson Highway. If you get off at the interstate, you take Bluebonnet to Jefferson Highway. You hang out right on Bluebonnet, about a half mile down on your left. It's BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, right before you get to Airline Highway. Fantastic restaurant, of course, the official catering service of LSU Athletics as well. That doesn't hurt. But their menu is fantastic. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they have brunches as well. And their brunch is served from 10:30 in the morning to 3 o'clock every Saturday and Sunday. I'll give you an idea of one of my favorites. They have the BRQ Benedict, 2 poached eggs, pulled pork or chicken, atop the buttermilk biscuit, top of Creole Hollandaise, served with breakfast potatoes and seasoned with fruit. That's just one of the many great things that they have. The Mexican style hash browns, fantastic crispy potatoes, queso, chorizo, pico, sunny side up eggs. They got a Mexican sauce, sour cream, cilantro, all of that at CRQ in Baton Rouge. Joining me today, alongside myself, Ronnie Rance, is Tommy Krysan and Hunter McMahon of BRZ. Tommy Krysan of Most Blessed Sacrament. What's going on, fellas?
Good morning, Ronnie. How you doing? Happy to be here at BRQ for the next couple hours. It's going to be a busy day, but the sports world keeps rolling on. How far can we go into the show before we have to mention that team that got 10-run ruled last night?
I don't think anybody played baseball last night except for all the high school baseball games. So
Yeah.
for all I know, there was no other baseball.
So today on the show, we'll talk about the elephant in the room, which is LSU baseball, which for the 12th time this year gave up 10 runs in an SEC game. 12 times in 29 games. They have given up 10 or more runs. That is, they did it once last year, by the way, in 30 games. Unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable, inexcusable as well. But we'll get into that as they are literally going to go down as the worst LSU baseball team since at least 1984. I don't even, there's very little that anyone knows about prior to 1984. I know the 61 team won the SEC championship, 75 team won the SEC championship. There's a few other stories here or there, but it's pretty much like 1984, Skip Bertman's first year, to now is the modern era of LSU baseball, 42 years. In the last 42 years, it's the worst team that LSU's ever had. And that's shocking considering they won the national championship last year. It just shows you that the NFL and college baseball are now and maybe all one and the same. You can go from worst to first, first to worst, the whole 9 yards. And that's what LSU has done. We'll get into that. And also, another story to talk about. The high school baseball state championships are back in Sulphur again, all the different classifications. And there's a big matchup in the Division I select division, Catholic High versus Brother Martin. Catholic High won game 1 on Thursday, best of 3 series. The Lawrence kid that's going to Ole Miss to pitch to lefty, Joe Lawrence's son, one of the founders of Marucci, fantastic pitcher. Watched the last 3-4 innings of that game in Sulphur on Thursday. He was dominant, fastball in the 90-plus range. He's got a good breaking ball that he can command for strikes. He is going to be a heck of a pitcher. They go game 2 yesterday. We are going to talk to Jeff Palermo, who was on that call. He's going to join us at 10:15. Jeff's doing an 11 o'clock state championship game on the on NFHS and the LSFA TV network. We're going to have him describe for you because he was there for all 15 innings of that game. Oh, by the way, Catholic High won another state championship for the 3rd year in a row. They won in the 15th inning in walk-off fashion. They should have won in the 9th inning, Hunter. Explain in best you can to the folks out there. The old saying is when you go to the baseball field each night, you're going to see something you've never seen before. Tommy, how many baseball games do you think you've watched or seen in your lifetime without being too crazy of an exaggeration?
Thousands, seriously.
For sure, thousands. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's like you know,
I don't know
Will
if it's 10,
Chamberlain,
I don't know if
10
it's
wins, you know,
9,000,
yeah.
but it's north of 3 or 4,000.
And I would say you're obviously way older than I am, so it's not that high for me, but definitely in the 2,000 range, I think for sure is a good number. Hunter, what did we see yesterday that neither Tommy or I or you have ever seen before?
All right, we paint the picture. It's a 3-2 count, bottom of the ninth. The bases are juice for the Catholic High Bears.
Tie game.
Tie game, 2-2 in the bottom of the ninth. Catholic's got the batter up, 3-2 count.
2 outs.
2 outs. Pitch comes. It's a high ball 4. Catholic walks it off on a ball 4 to make it 3-2.
They start dog
Catholic High Bears. Yeah, they start going nuts, dog piling in front of the mound.
I have to interject. I'm sitting at a table last night, and the guy's watching it on his phone, and he says, Catholic High just won 3-2. Turns his phone off. We all like move to another topic, thinking that it was over. He goes, they just had a walk-off walk. And then we start saying, man, what a way to lose a state championship.
Sounds like Shaw in the Superdome in December.
With St. Charles.
All right, so get back to you.
Back to what I was saying.
That's it. Ball game.
Ball game. Catholics won
One
3-2. But yeah, the only issue is they start dogpiling in front of that batter. Never went to first. He's at the bottom of the dog pile.
Never ran to first and touched the bag.
Never did.
You have to do to complete the play on a walk, just
And
like you have to touch home plate on a home run.
And if you watch the call, the entire time, the color's saying he's got to go touch first. He's saying it from the very beginning, got to go touch first because he immediately
took 2 steps.
and went under the dog
and then
pile.
started dog
And
pile.
that
He
was
actually threw himself under the dog pile. I've never seen that before. He fell on the ground, and then everyone fell on top of
So
him.
Brother Martin was smart enough to realize, hey man, they know the rules, and Catholic High coach
yelling.
everything. They eventually start yelling like, you got to go touch first. You got to go touch first. Well, he eventually gets up and goes over there, but not before probably 25, 30 seconds passes, and Brother Martin is now taking the ball, throwing it to first base, and the officiating crew calls him out at first. Says we're going to extra innings. The walk does not count. Now, I looked it up, and we'll have to ask Jeff Palermo. I don't know what the official ruling is on how much time designation is from when the walk occurs to you getting to first base. But I do know that the rule is you got to touch first base, 100%. Well, the thing that I saw, at least from Major League Baseball, which I know is not the same rules for the LHFA, is the fact that it's to the umpire's discretion. If it's appealed, the umpire has discretion to call the batter out if he did not go to first base within a reasonable amount of time. In this case, where the dog pile is starting and you have not gone to first base, I would argue that the appeal is justified. Hey, look, I get it, but rules are rules. And it's just the same way that they offset a home run saying you didn't touch all the bags. This is the same thing. It doesn't matter what stage of the game you're in. I think the call was right, but as you alluded to, Ronnie, it didn't matter much except for time spent at the ballpark. And the bottom of the 15th inning, the Catholic High Bears did walk it off to a base hit to center field to walk off the game and become three-peat state champions. It's the first time that's ever happened at the state level here in Louisiana that a team's gone 3 times in a row. That's the 8th overall state championship for the Catholic High Bears.
So under the rules of high school baseball, the NFHS rules, the national rules, a walk batter must touch first base. Failure to do so before an appeal by the defense results in an out.
There you go.
The runner has until the next pitch, an attempted play, or the pitcher and infielder leaving the diamond to touch the bag. So from that perspective, then yes, he should have been out.
Yep.
I have no problem with it. And I don't believe anyone really has a problem with it. I mean, obviously, if you're a Catholic High fan and you're the parent of that kid, you're going to be like, oh, no, he dogpiled, he rolled around on the ground, they poured Gatorade on each other, and then he went and touched the bag. That should count, right? No. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. You saw Brother Martin players crying on the field. You saw Catholic High players celebrating and dogpiling, including, Brad Bass, the head coach, running around hugging everybody, going crazy. And then people start screaming from the dugouts of the fans, you got to touch the base. And then there's this frantic run to the first base to go touch the base. And then they throw the ball over, and the guy catches it before he slides in the first and the whole 9 yards. I think it was the correct call. Well, it ended up that Catholic High did not walk it off in the bottom of the ninth. It stayed 2-2, and it stayed that way until the 15th inning when Catholic High finally won. They had a runner at second. They got a double in the gap, and that was ball game.
It was an incredible baseball game. It's not even leading up to not even talking about extras. If you watch the entire baseball game, it was a defensive masterclass from a lot of these young
This is
kids.
how good that game was. Okay, and I Brother Martin was the number 1 seed, I believe, and Catholic
Yeah.
High was number 2. This is now Brad Bass and Catholic High's 3rd state championship in a row. They have quite the powerhouse now. There's an asterisk to it because there's that stupid select, non-select. So I mean, their division's got like 6 good teams, and that kind of stuff. I hate it. It should be this, but they should all be together. You'd love to see the winner of select play the winner of non-select in a 2 out of 3 next week somewhere. Maybe at Goldsby, the home of the Baton Rouge Root Group. But the thing that I will say is that having Lawrence, I thought, was the difference maker in that series, right? I mean, a guy goes a complete game on Thursday, saves a pitching if you Catholic. I don't think Brother more than anybody up to his level. But last night, both teams, they played 15 innings. Tommy, both teams only threw 2 pitches. The starters for both teams went 9 innings. And here's the thing that's impressive about that. There's a pitch count to high school baseball, 115 pitches. So they were super efficient, throwing strikes, defense making plays. Like, what a high-level baseball game. LSU should have taken note of that. I mean, when was the last time we saw like 15 innings and use 2 pitchers? Never.
Never.
Right? I mean, like at least in 26. So both teams were throwing strikes. Both teams were making plays. It was just a big-time game.
And like you alluded to, it was like at any level, it was pure high-class baseball. Not just for the high school level, like any level of baseball enthusiast could go and watch that game and think, this is one of the best baseball games I've ever seen in my life.
So congratulations to Catholic High. And oh, by the way, baseball got it right. They deserve to win. They should have won in the bottom of the 9th. Goofy scenario happened. Kid lost his mind. He, just brain fart type of deal, and didn't run at first and started dogpiling. And
that emotions.
It worked out. It would have been awful
if there was a rubber match going on.
It would have been awful for Catholic High had they lost that game. Just that kid, I'd have felt so bad for that kid for the rest of his life had they lost the state championship or something because of that.
Yeah, it was a heck of a baseball game if it had been played on March 20th. But the fact that it was a game, the second game of a best of 3 for a state championship, that just magnifies it all. And it's lesson learned. Every travel ball coach in America today, or certainly in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, saying, hey, guys, we got to touch first to end the game. And I remember I coached a long time. I always said, hey, if you get this hit, you got to go touch first. I wish I had $1 every time I said it.
Well, there's 4 local area teams that played in state championships the past few days. There are 2 of them that are playing in a rubber match today, but one of those is Dutchtown. They lost 1-3 yesterday to Sam Houston. They will have a rubber match today at 5:30.
They lost 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, they lost 3-1. What did I say?
You said 1-3.
I
always put the winning score.
I'm just reading.
I always put the. Come on, you're a sportscaster.
Yeah.
WBRZ.
Yeah. All right. And then the other team that plays today, they lost 13-6. That was U High against Newman. They have game 3 today, 11 o'clock in Sulphur. And then Bruley yesterday, unfortunately, falling 8-3 to Lutcher.
Lutcher, bro. Lutcher.
They won the state championship.
Lutcher, bro. The
St. Charles will play for Vanderbilt Catholic today for game 3. I got good friends, a big St. Charles fan. I was following that game on Game Changer yesterday.
Yeah.
And St. Charles actually had the tie-in run at second out of the last inning, but they got to pop up with something.
Yeah, BC is the better team there, but don't count out Wayne Stein. And
Wayne Stein is amazing.
I mean, it's super coach. And Dutchtown is a team of destiny. We'll talk to Jeff Palermo about that. He's coming up next. He'll be on the call today for a couple games. We'll tell you which ones for the NFHS and the LHSAA TV network. Steve Schneider, Jeff Schneider, and all the gang doing great work.
And I want to give an apology. I had bad information this morning. I want to apparently Sanama won 3 consecutive 5A baseball.
They won 4 in a row in the 90s.
In the 90s, I did not have that.
Bob Lemon was the coach.
That was back when all the public 5A stuff.
And Central had a run. You might be getting them confused. I don't know. Central won 3, and Sanama might have won 3.
Sanama won 4. I'm pretty sure.
That was back in the McCord boys.
I got to guess.
All right, we will take a break and be back with more Sports Shorts live from BRQ on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. Tommy Price, Sam Hunter McCann, myself, Ronnie Rance. Coming up next, Jeff Palermo will join us and we'll talk about what's going on in Sulphur and the most incredible game he's ever called on TV in his life. We'll be back with more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over at BRQ, the home of BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, one of the best restaurants in South Louisiana. BRQ, right on Jefferson Highway before you get to Airline, the home of outstanding brunch every Saturday, Sunday, 10:30 to 3, and also the official caterer of LSU Athletics, BRQ. Joining us now is a guy who knows all about BRQ, Mr. Jeff Palermo, who is working on the state championship baseball games on television on NFHS, the LHSAA TV network. You can watch the games also on Cox Cable channel. Jeff, how are you, my friend? Yeah. So good. So good. That carrot cake, huh? I mean, things like so big you need a moving truck to pack it up. It's like a $20 piece of cake that could feed an army. All right, Jeff, last night, I mean, how much sleep, by the way, have you got? Just curious. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm one of the people that called you, and I know you talked to Lee Sanders, the head of the officials. I just chatted with him, and he told me you talked to him on the field a few minutes ago, so I want to get right to it. Jeff was on the call. We talked a little bit about it last segment, Jeff. They broke it down. The 15-inning game, Catholic High not winning their third state championship in a row, knocking off Brother Martin, but they should have won it in the ninth. They had the walk that should have won them the game 3-2, but the player never went to first base. He immediately started dogpiling, so they called him out, and it went extras. Thank goodness for that young man, right? That Catholic won the game, or that would have been something. Yeah. Right.
Call Braxton. Okay. Jeff's not on. Jeff's not on.
Right.
Jeff's
I mean, it's just amazing that a high school baseball game on game 2 of the state championship series had two pitchers. I mean, two teams only used two pitchers each for 15 innings, and in a day and age where you have that 115 pitch count is the max you can throw. Now you can finish the batter if you're at 115, but it's just incredible. We're visiting with Jeff Palermo. He was on the call last night for that epic state championship game. You know the old saying, Jeff, where you're always going to see something different every night you go to the ballpark in baseball, right? That's the beautiful thing about it, is that there's always something that happens. You go, you know what? I've seen thousands of games, but I've never seen that before. Last night was one of those moments that'll live forever. I mean, it's right there with St. Louis, as you mentioned, with St. Charles Catholic and Shaw, although the baseball gods got it right and Catholic High ended up winning the game. You don't have that regret like you do if you're the Shaw Center. Or the Shaw coaches for that matter, because they didn't call timeouts. They didn't tell their quarterback to take a knee. I mean, to run towards the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of things a lot of people could have done differently to help Shaw win that game. But at least this way it kind of evened out. But it's just amazing, Brad Bass and what they're doing over there. Some other games that you've been doing. Speaking of St. Charles Catholic, you're doing the St. Charles. I think, what did you do? St. Charles Catholic lecture yesterday or something?
Yeah.
Or St. Charles Catholic VC.
Yeah. That series is going to a third and deciding game today at 2:00. That's a lot of fun, man. There were some great defensive plays in that game yesterday, and I don't know how many people tune into high school baseball. But it's a fun. I mean, in college baseball and Major League Baseball, a lot of it is how fast you can throw, how hard can you swing, how hard or how far you can hit it. It's so much more situational baseball. And for a purist and someone that really just kind of loves the game on the fundamental level, it's so much fun to watch. And that's what you're going to get with St. Charles Catholic and Vanderbilt Catholic. There's guys that are diving, making catches, making unbelievable plays in the infield. Brooks Monica, if you're familiar with St. Charles Catholic football, this kid at third base, I mean, any ball that was hit to him, he's diving to his left, diving to his right, getting up, throwing. I mean, just amazing plays. Crash Menard, the second baseman for Vanderbilt Catholic, same thing. Guys in the outfield, diving, making grabs. Unbelievable. Dax Prejean is a really good hitter for St. Charles Catholic, hit a 2-run homer in the 7th. On Thursday to send it into extra innings. Comets win, and then Vanderbilt Catholic comes back yesterday and wins the Force Game 3. The game I got coming up right here at 11 a.m. It should be a lot of fun too. University High and Newman. University High did what they're supposed to do, being the veteran team in this environment. They just won a state championship 2 years ago. They were here a year ago. They win the first game. They play some good baseball. Then, whatever reason, yesterday they played one of the worst games of the season. Newman jumps all over them, and now you got a game 3 set up. So this is a lot of fun. And then tonight you got Sam Houston and Dutchtown on the LHSAA network at 5:30. And Dutchtown's been an incredible story, beating Barb and then Zachary in the postseason. And they won game 1 against Sam Houston, and Sam Houston is a defending champ, and there's always great players coming out of this Lake Charles area with Sam and Barb, just terrific baseball that's played in this area, St. Louis Catholic. So you're going to see kind of a program like Sam Houston that is so good, and then Dutchtown is kind of they're the Cinderella. So this is going to be some tremendous baseball today. So if you're looking for it, check it out, certainly on the LHSAA network.
Yeah, Chris Scheck-Snyder. I mean, I'm pulling for Shake over there to get the state championship of Dutchtown. He's been a great coach for a long time, won over 400 games in his career, I believe. And then, Sam Houston's one of the top programs in the state. I mean, great facilities, great athletes, great coaching staff. I mean, that's good. They're going to have the home field advantage. Obviously, Sam Houston, the ballpark, the school's on 5 miles away or whatever from Max from Sulphur. So they're going to have a ton of people at the game. And I imagine the Dutchtown will travel pretty well as well, especially with this one game winner take all. What time is that game today, Sam, in Dutchtown?
That's going to be at 5:30, unless obviously these first 2 games go a little long. But we started at 5:30 yesterday, so we it'll be right around there, 5:30, 6 o'clock.
How can folks watch the games?
So you got the LHSAA network that you can watch it for free there. If you got and then obviously Cox Cable Channel 4 as well. It's on there. But you got a smart TV or Samsung or a Fire Stick, download the LHSAA Network app, and then you're able to watch the games for free. And obviously with the LHSAA Network 24/7. If you need all the details, go to the social channel to kind of figure it out. But it's you just never know what you're going to get in high school sports. That's the thing. I mean, you see some crazy stuff, and last night was certainly it once again.
Yeah, you can watch it on your phone as well through NFHS. You can watch it through the LHS.
NFHS, you'll have to pay.
Yeah,
you'll have to pay through NFHS, but if you got LHSA network, you don't have to pay.
Yeah, if you have Cox Cable, you can watch it on YourView, Channel 4. All right, appreciate it, Jeff. Hey, you'll be on the call for a few games again for the Baton Rouge Rougarou this summer. The defending champs get started June 2nd. Real quick, you called the state championship game with Tommy. The Texas Collegiate League championship game with Tommy Krysan last summer. What was that like for you? And of course, you've been there since for the last 4 years, helping from time to time doing games, and you've seen the down times, and now you got a chance to be a part of the championship game. Had to be pretty fun.
Oh man, that was so much fun to call that championship game. The environment, the energy that was in the ballpark, and really for the entire summer, Ronnie, and what you and your staff do to create just great family fun and to watch a baseball game. I have a feeling the way things have transpired here for LSU, people are going to be a lot more eager to be watching baseball in June because you don't have the distraction of LSU. So I hope a lot of people take, if you haven't been able to go to a game, I think this would be a good year to do it. I'm sure you built another juggernaut of a team. It was so fun to watch them play. It just fundamentally sound baseball, good pitching, good clutch hitting, all that kind of stuff. And that championship game was kind of your typical championship game. Each team kind of threw some punches early on. Each team got on the board. It was close there for the first few innings, and then eventually the Rougarou, which were by far the best team in the Texas Collegiate League all last year, eventually kind of pulled away and won by a few runs. But that was a lot of fun. And just, again, I think I take away the energy that was in the park. Fans were really into that game. And the players, you could tell they really appreciated it. You don't know how many times you're going to win a championship in your life and be part of a team that wins a championship. So you never take it for granted.
That's right. And Rougarou opening home night, first game of the year, will be at home on June 5th, Friday, June 5th. That'll be a fireworks night. So big night that day, and we'll have fireworks during the 7th inning stretch. Jeff, thanks. We'll be watching and listening today on the call.
All right. Thanks, Ronnie. Appreciate it. See you soon.
All right. Jeff Palermo right there, who did all 15 innings. He announced Catholic High winning the game twice last night. In the bottom of the ninth, they win walk-off fashion. Nope. Batter doesn't touch first on the walk, so they go to extras innings. And then in the 15th inning, there was a double in the gap that cleared, that scored the winning run, and he announced another Catholic High walk-off win. We will take a timeout and be back with more Sports Shorts live from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. The doors are open. Brunch is being served from 10:30 to 3 today and tomorrow. Make your plans to attend one of the best restaurants in the city, BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan, myself, Ronnie Rance, will be back with more Sports Shorts to talk LSU baseball next.
This is Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you, alongside Hunter McCann and Tommy Krysan. We are over here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge. Getting ready, Tommy, to have this is a little appetizer. It's the barbecue brisket meatballs. It's so good. It's 2 or 3 little meatballs on a mashed potatoes with a little hot sauce, fried onion ring strings on top. So good. And then I'm going to have a little side Caesar with some grilled shrimp. But I mean, they have everything you can imagine. One of my other favorite things that I've had here is the barbecue quesadilla. It's a choice of chicken or pork, Monterey Jack, pico de gallo, sour cream. You can even substitute brisket or shrimp instead. It's so good. All right, let's talk a little LSU baseball. Speaking of going from so good to so bad, it's amazing what this team has done, going from literally the White House to the outhouse. I mean, that in a matter of months.
And that's not exaggeration.
It's an actual, not an analogy. They went from the White House in the fall to the outhouse. They are now 29-26, 9-20 in the SEC. Remember when Paul Maneri's first year, when they were in 2007, when they were awful, didn't make the SEC tournament, because back then you had to qualify for the SEC tournament. Now everybody makes it. It's a single elimination deal. They had won 12 games that year. This team's only won 9. If they win today, they win 10. They'd go 10-20 at best.
And if they win today, they would avoid being swept for the 5th time in SEC play. That'd be 5 out of this last 6 conference weekends.
You know what my biggest takeaway is over the last few weeks with this team? That South Carolina is terrible.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway. I mean, they got swept. South Carolina got beat by LSU like a drum. They look like they didn't even belong in the same league as LSU for those 3 games that weekend. I mean, the Tigers just throttled them in every aspect of the game, of how you can play the game of baseball, but yet that's how they look against everybody else.
And Jay Johnson, said basically yesterday that, not without saying it, but the towel has been thrown in here for the there was nothing after they lost Friday to Florida. There literally is no argument as to winning yesterday, which obviously didn't happen, or winning today is going to help you get into the postseason. It's going to come down to basically a 5-game tournament at the SEC tournament. They got to win 5 games in a row in a do or die situation. Yeah, but that's the only way you get into the postseason now, is if you win the SEC tournament. Single elimination. You got to remember that now. Yeah.
I'd wager a lot of money that they don't win 5 games in Hoover.
Let me tell you something,
They may not
Tommy.
win
If you
one.
put $1 on the Tigers to win 5 games in Hoover, I bet you Vegas pays you a lot of money. I don't know what it is. By the way, this is, I hate to say this, but we got Mr. Best Bets over here.
Yep.
You know, Hunter's Best Bets. College baseball is giving away money right now if you bet against LSU.
Oh, yesterday was insane.
Minus 130 yesterday.
Minus
or something like that?
130 yesterday for Florida.
For Florida to win.
by a run and a half.
Thursday night, the over and under was 10.5. I bet the over. Of course, it went over. Last night, over and under was 13.5, and I went, LSU might not score, and I bet Florida minus run.
But that's not the bet. The bet is betting against LSU. And the reason that you can win money is because these apps, LSU is such a big college baseball brand. They don't realize that they don't really dig in on these teams. They just know that people around the country will just throw a couple bucks here or there. Oh, the big Tigers. Oh, they're going to figure it out. They're going to bounce back. They can't be that bad. They're going to win. They're going to right the ship. And like minus 130 yesterday on Florida to beat LSU. That game, if this was real, I think it was Major League Baseball, that would have been 230.
So yesterday on Best Bets gave out Florida minus 1.5. It was minus 110. I loaded up a lot of money.
I'm saying money line was
money line. I know,
one of the.
But money line, what I saw was minus 150, which was whatever.
I think I saw 135.
But I saw minus 110 on Florida winning by at least two runs, right? And I'm thinking, man, Florida's going to kill them. And then they run rule them. They run rule them in 7 yesterday. I mean, this LSU team, like I was saying, is basically thrown in the towel. I mean, you're not pitching your guys this weekend against Florida. There's nothing to play against. You're going to keep your best arms for, like I said, the do or die 5-game stretch they got to play in Hoover, which is now a single elimination tournament all the way through. And if the season were to end right now, according to SEC standings, that means that LSU would be paired up in the first round against Oklahoma. But there's still a lot of baseball to play here because Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma all tied with the same record. Tennessee only one game above that. So a lot can happen in the next 2 days to flip that around. But if it were to end right now, LSU's playing Oklahoma, but it doesn't really matter who they play unless it's probably Mizzou or South Carolina. I don't think LSU's making it past one game in Hoover.
No, I mean, at best they're winning one game in Hoover.
Definitely not 5.
So they're gonna finish above 500 for the season at least as a record. They won't be below it. If they lose today and they lose the first game at Hoover, they'd be 29-28, which is unbelievable. Some positive stories. Mason Braun, true freshman, batting .305 on the season. Omar Cerner Jr., true freshman, hitting .306 on the season. Cade Arambidi, who will be back next year, hitting .320 on the season. That Jack Ruckert getting some PT, hitting .254. He's been kind of in there in the lineup the last few. True freshman out of Catholic High. They really like, he's one of those first one in the ballpark, hardest worker guy, great teammate, bleeds purple and gold, yada, yada. So you look at that's your core that you're going to build around. Probably throw John Pearson in there as well, a program player, the Pearson name and toughness and all that. That's your core that you're going to build around. I know there's a lot of LSU fans that are holding out hope for a shocker and Derek Curiel, who's hitting .344, that maybe because he's only a sophomore and maybe he won't go in the first round and, got something to come back and play for. Probably not going to happen. Others are hoping for Stephen Milam, but Milam's hitting .297. Your best bet was for him to hit .250 this year. But unfortunately, and good for him, he turned it around in the second half of the SEC. He's at .297 right now, and plus playing that great defense. So now it's looking more and more like Stephen Milam is definitely going to get drafted in the first 10 rounds. And does he go in the top 5 rounds? That's really the question for me. If he goes in the 8th round or something, I think maybe you got a chance to keep him. But top 5, I don't think you do.
And I think that he's in my opinion, on the bubble of top 5.
Yeah.
I think he goes 5 or 6 personally, and I think it's because of the way he flashed the leather this year. And like you said, batting near 300. He's got all the accolades behind his name. He's proved it over his course at LSU and his growth. And he's exceeded expectations. It would not surprise me to see him get his name called within the first 5 rounds.
It being a switch hitter helps his cause.
Sure. Absolutely.
A switch hitter and, can play any of the infield spots, probably, more of a second baseman at the next level, just because I think the range might be a little questionable for pro baseball when you got these Dominican kids that can go left to right way, quicker. So he's probably more of a second baseman type. But still, the question becomes, wherever he gets drafted, will he be able to sign for more than $300,000? I think that's kind of the number, because I think Steven can make that next year coming back to LSU. Will he only sign for $150,000? Will he sign for $200,000 when he could probably make more? Is it worth it to come back and make the same amount of money or more than you would make in your signing bonus for one more season of college? Did you love it that much? Did your experience here that much? Or did you get your ring and now you're good and you just want to move on to pro ball? That we don't know what's going on internally in his mind.
Well, yesterday after the game was over, LSU fell 11-1 to Florida. He did sit around in the dugout for a while before joining the rest of the team, as they always do in the outfield, to have their post-game kind of meeting with the coaching staff. And he was asked about that after the game, and he just was talking about how he just hates losing. It eats him to his core, and especially after the highs of last year, and you're truly in the lows of this year, it's just something that's hard for him to sit and chew on. And I mean, he's a true competitor, and it would not surprise me from a financial or a competitive standpoint to see him back in the purple and gold, but I'm not betting my money on it.
How about these numbers? Last night, Marcos Paz, his ERA on the season, 9.2. Now, Marcos Paz is a true freshman. That dude is a guy. He's got great stuff. He's one of the top pitchers in America coming out of high school. Again, probably going to figure it out one day. Look at Chase Shores and the struggles at times that he had. And then all of a sudden, bam, comes together for the last month of the season. He's a rock star, gets drafted second round, sandwich pick, whatever it is. Marcos Paz probably will be that guy one day, but not right now. Ethan Plaug, another lefty, talented left, 10.43 earned run average. Kason Evans will pitch in the major leagues for a long time, 6.27 ERA this year. These are numbers you never see ever. We're talking about like a one-off guy here or there. This whole staff has had a bad year. The entire staff has had a bad year. That is shocking, troubling, concerning. Like, what is the solution? I mean, you can't sign better than Marcos Paz. You can't sign. Reagan Ricken looks like, if you were to design a pitcher, it'd be Reagan Ricken. 6'5", 210, 95, like all the things, right? Everybody has had a bad year. That is like, you gotta figure out what the heck went wrong.
And I'm not saying that LSU has to have the consistency of talent of like bringing in Paul Skeens and turning them into a masterclass, one-of-a-kind pitcher. That's just not going to happen. But the conversation over the last 3 years in spurts with LSU, and they get to the postseason and figure out the pitching, and all of the conversations go away, is about Nate Yeskie. The inconsistencies with the pitching staff and over the last few years of being able to bring guys in here and develop them and have them have the consistency to throw strikes. So I bring back the conversation of what's happening with Nate Yeskie and his ability to get these guys in right order, because it's crazy, like you mentioned, that the whole staff is having a down year. It's not just a few guys here or there like we've seen the past few. It is. I couldn't point to you on the roster right now and tell you one guy that I'd trust to put in a situation and not give up a home run.
Well, I'm going to quote the late, great Tony Robichaux, who I love talking about pitching with. And Tony had a thing that was a big thing for him. And, of course, everybody knows his record, especially what he did with the Raging Cajuns. You can't pitch and hope, okay? You have to pitch with conviction. Like, I'm going to hit the outside part of the plate. I'm going to throw it knee high. I'm going to elevate my fastball. You can't pitch and hope that the result's good. I think these LSU pitchers are pitching and hoping that it's a good result or a good pitch or a swing and a miss or a pop-up. And, I mean, because there's no command. I mean, yesterday when Paz started the game, he hits the second guy, and then he 4 straight balls that weren't even close to the plate. You can't pitch and hope. And again, that the late, great Tony Robichaux, that was one of his biggest things when it came to pitching and talking about pitching. And, of course, his record speaks for itself. We can point a lot of fingers. We can come up with a lot of reasons. And they're all probably some part of the equation to say, sure, this pitching staff is terrible.
And it's the one thing, we talked a lot about this game yesterday. Obviously, game 1 was played on Thursday this week. And it is inexcusable that LSU had 15 free passes. They allowed 15 free passes to Florida. You cannot beat a top 10 team like that, allowing 15 base runners to make it to first base.
You can't beat anybody.
No, I mean, how do you let that happen? How do you be an SEC caliber program and be an LSU national championship caliber program coming into the season after last year's high?
Bizarre, isn't it?
And
Jay Johnson and his staff are going to have to figure it out immediately, starting next week when they're eliminated in Hoover. They got to figure it out quickly.
What do you think LSU baseball's batting average is as a team in 29 SEC games, if you had to guess, Tommy?
235.
I was going to say 255.
Very good. 258. Dead ninth, right in the middle of the, right near the middle of the league. Georgia leads the league with 303 in conference. And then your worst is South Carolina, hit 205 in conference. But LSU is ninth. Let's look at pitching. What do you think LSU's earned run average is in SEC play?
6.2.
I'd say 6.1.
Both of you are wrong. It's 6.96.
Oh my God!
Basically 7. 6.96. Basically 7. Oklahoma's right on their heels. 6.95. The best team is Auburn, 3.95 in SEC play as a staff. That is stellar, my friend. Even Georgia, who's only 5.22, that's not great. But LSU is almost 7, 6.96.
That's worse in the league?
Worst, dead last in the league. How many walks do you think LSU has had in 29 SEC games?
110.
Oh, God. I mean, no, I think it's north of that. I'm going to go 135.
Both of you are way off. 179. 179 walks in 29 games.
That's nuts.
that
That's
is
insane.
that is basically
Well,
6 walks a game.
And
That's
that-
6 walks
That's
a
how
game.
you end up
That's
9
crazy.
and 20 with one game to go on the SEC.
Can't
schedule.
throw strikes. I mean,
6 walks a game.
Ronnie, would it help if they had River of Life capsules?
I think it would. No question about it. Listen, I need to take it just talking about the stats. All right.
makes your blood boil.
Riveroflifecapsules.com. All the time you hear us talk about it on this show. Of course, it's a potent natural anti-inflammatory pill and antioxidant. It's in that has all the ingredients, curcumin and other things that are in it. They're a potent natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant used to manage arthritis, joint pain, digestive issues. It also helps support health. May manage depression as well. I mean, a lot of folks see positive side effects when it comes to your mental health and mental clarity and all that sort of thing. And you need that if you're an LSU baseball fan. But if you're a guy that's sitting on the sofa, you're watching the game, your back hurts, your knees are swollen, you're taking over-the-counter medications and stuff, stop doing that. Get the riveroflifecapsules.com today. Go to riveroflifecapsules.com. If you need questions, you can call Angiogenesis Medical. The folks over there, Patrick Scallon and his staff, will set up a consultation, or you can talk to them over the phone, or just order a bottle today, less than $40. Take 1 pill, 2 pills a day. Take them as needed. I know Hunter and Tommy and myself and others, Jerry Beckwith and all, have all tried it with success. It's riveroflifecapsules.com, an anti-inflammatory medication, pain reliever, all natural ingredients. And we'll talk to Patrick Scallon at 11:15 today about River of Life capsules. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, no Joel Davis, because Joel is in Europe traveling on the Viking River cruise. You can't hide money, I swear. But we'll talk about, in honor of Joel, we'll talk about the 2026 New Orleans Saints schedule, which came out this week. Of course, we all know about the big game over in Paris on October the 25th against the Steel Curtain. Will Aaron Rodgers be the quarterback and all that kind of stuff? We'll talk about the Saints schedule and kind of early predictions when we return. Don't go anywhere. Sports Shorts will continue from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue right after this.
Now back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over at BRQ in Baton Rouge. If you're passing through Baton Rouge, go check out BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. It is the best, one of the best restaurants
It's
in
incredible.
the South. I'm telling you, it's right off of I-10 and Bluebonnet. You go to Jefferson Highway. If you're coming from, say, downtown Baton Rouge, you'd hang a left on Bluebonnet. Go to Jefferson Highway, hang a right, about a half mile down on your left before you get to Airline is BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. They're the official caterer, by the way, of LSU Athletics. And their menu is second to none. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they have brunch from 10:30 to noon. And it is packed in here because you got graduation Saturday going on. I can see one of the graduates with his big family. He's got the cap and gown. I do not see Shaq, though. And
No.
he graduated.
He did.
yesterday.
This morning he walked across stage this morning and got his liberal
Shaq
arts
needs to come
master's
on by.
degree. Yeah, and apparently he's trying to go into sports psychology. He got a liberal arts master's degree. So congrats to Shaquille. He's got a lot of
Do we think
accolades, and one of them's now a master's degree in liberal arts.
Do we think Shaq actually took the class?
Sure.
I mean,
Well,
no, I mean, seriously, I'm not. I don't know if he
I
did or
don't know.
didn't. Do we think he was on the Zoom doing the classes, or do you think it was an Otani situation where he had his assistant do the classes, or did he even do classes at all? There's three scenarios.
I imagine that he took a couple tests and that was about it. And I don't know what more that he did than that. But, he could surprise me.
I'd have to believe he was involved some kind of
Some
way.
kind of way,
One
right?
Zoom call, 2 Zoom calls, fill out this form and email it back to us, scan it, whatever.
So the great Chris Jackson, who of course became Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, when Chris Jackson was at LSU for 2 seasons, 88, 89, 89, 90, I was not here. My freshman year was fall of 90. But friends of mine told me that had one of them had a class with him. They said he came in on the first day, had a how when you're as a kid, you've got the basketballs in the bag, the net bag where you put like 5-6 basketballs in a bag, you throw it over your shoulder, coach brings it to the gym, and then everybody's got balls to warm up with. He came in with one of those bags, signed a few basketballs for the professor, and gave him the balls, and they never saw him again. They never saw him back in class the rest of the semester. Those were the good old days, right? Now you just get a sports admin degree, and if you don't, come on. You can do good in that. But no, I think like Tommy said, I bet you Shaq probably had a little bit of an appearance or two
He
in
did
there.
something, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the schedule. Go ahead.
All right, so
The New Orleans Saints.
Tommy, I'll be honest with you. You look at this schedule for New Orleans, and it's quite funny. They have the second easiest schedule. They have the second easiest schedule in the league this year, but it's not a cakewalk by any matter. They opened the season with 2 pretty tough games against an NFC North opponent and an AFC North opponent on the road against the Lions and the Ravens. And they are a 7.5-point underdog, Tommy, in that game against the Lions to open up the year.
Oh, it's going to be a tough way to open it. First time in a very long time, they opened with 2 on the road and 2 stout opponents. Even though they got the 31st easiest schedule, according to the pundits, the first 2 games are probably the toughest 2 of the stretch going forward as we sit here today. Now, that can change. Remember when the Saints blew the Dallas Cowboys out a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
We thought, and then they went south.
Dude,
okay?
that team was going to win the Super Bowl with Derek
we
Carr.
don't know. So, yeah.
Or more, two games in a row and all that.
Yeah. So anyway, but the schedules. I've seen some people, a couple of these sports writers in New Orleans are saying 10-7. Looking to early call, if you will.
I'll take the under.
I don't think they win 10 games. I don't know. You got Tyler Shuck, who's got a little bit of experience under his belt now. Kellen Moore in year 2.
What's the over under, Hunter?
I can look it up right now. Actually, I do not know. I know it was 8.5 at one point. When it opened at the beginning before the draft, it was 8.5. So I can tell you right now. Either way, though. Okay, hang on. Let me.
You have to. If you win one of your first 2 games, you're in a good spot. Right. You got 3 at home in a row, with a couple of those very winnable. So the key is you got to go 1-1.
You got to go 1-1. That's a great point. Go 1-1 in those 2. then come home to the Dome for a little while and try to get 2 of those 3, if not all 3. I said it on Sports Shorts Friday. If they can be 3-2 after the first 5 games, then we can start being optimistic.
So looking at FanDuel right now for odds, 8+ wins right now at -105. So it's about where the mark is.
They went down a half a game.
Correct. Yes.
So it went from 8.5 to 8.
Yep.
So 8 is the over/under. I think that's a really good. I mean, that's what they do for a living. That's a really good line. Wasn't it 7.5 initially? Maybe I thought it opened months ago.
I remember seeing it at 8.5. I guess it might have opened at 7.5, but I don't recall. I know for sure at one point it was at 8.5 when I was looking at a book prior to the draft.
Yeah, it might have been before the schedule came out or something, or the opponents or something.
Yeah,
but yeah. I mean, look, we all know if you listen to this show that the Saints gypped me last year. I mean, just absolute
a little butthurt
debacle last year. They were poised to go 3 and whatever, and then they happened to have the easiest schedule in the history of the world in the last 4 or 5 games of the year, playing teams that had absolutely nothing to play for, whereas the Saints had a little juice with a rookie quarterback, and they pulled out some victories against some teams that were going through the motions and burned my bet. I had under 5.5 wins, and I'd already cashed the winning ticket and had to give the money back. But this year, I feel like it's going to be the opposite. I feel like everybody's going to be super optimistic. And the question is, do you think the Saints roster is really that overhauled to where, I mean, because if you believe the Saints roster is overhauled, that means you believe all these rookies are going to work out.
Yeah.
And that's not realistic.
Not at all. I mean, could happen, but unlikely.
I think the great thing about going into this season for the Saints, at least from a fan perspective, fans can make an argument one way or the other. Where last year everything felt pretty,
there was nobody
was like, anything more than 6 is probably not going to happen. You go through this schedule game by game, there's a way they could win 10 games if things fall your way. It's not impossible. I'm not saying it's probable. But they find themselves underdogs in 12 of their 17 games this season, as well as underdogs in every single road game that they have.
2 years ago, the Patriots won 4 games. They were in the Super Bowl last year. Goes back to what Ronnie said earlier in the show. The days of changing from worst to first to worst, that's what we're at, where we're at now in pro sports and college sports. That's just the way it is right now. And, I mean,
I'll tell you this right now, if the New Orleans Saints hit on this draft, if it pans out like it did for last year's draft in terms of productivity of rookies, this team will win 10 games. Because that means you've got an offensive plethora. They could be one of the best offenses in the league if Shuck continues to grow and these young rookies pan out the way they go and Jordan Tyson stays healthy. And if or but that's no guarantee. So 8's probably a great number, and maybe you steal one here along the road and get it north of 8. But we'll see. They open it up with, like you said, 2 games, a 7.5-point underdogs.
Got to be 1-1 after them too. Doesn't matter which one.
If you could do that, you're off for a good. If the Saints can open up the year at Detroit and flex that offense, where last year Detroit on defense couldn't stop a nosebleed.
Right.
If they're the same way and the Saints come out with this explosive offense, watch out.
All right, we'll continue the conversation in the second hour. When we return, we'll visit with Doug Thompson. We're going to catch up with Doug Thompson, talk a little LSU baseball, talk, his history with this team. Also, proud papa of a state championship baseball player. His son, Cam, a backup catcher for Catholic High Bears. So Doug was in that craziness yesterday in Sulphur when Catholic High won its 3rd state championship in a row in 15 innings of action. When they won it twice. They won in the bottom of the 9th and in the bottom of the 15th. But we will talk to Doug Thompson, former LSU Tiger. And, of course, we'll talk LSU Tiger baseball and what it was like as a dad to watch his son dogpile not once but twice last night in Sulphur. We'll be back with more from BRQ, Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge right after this.
Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2, Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
We continue live and in color from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. And they got lots of folks in here, some travel softball teams, the whole bit. BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge, not far from Airline. You need to check it out soon. I come here at least once a week for lunch. And, of course, we're here once a month for radio.
You know, I introduced my girlfriend to here about a month ago. She'd never been here, but we come twice since then. She absolutely loves the food here now. She can't believe she'd ever been here.
Big variety on the menu, seafood, barbecue,
Can't go wrong. Desserts are
They got a
nuts.
full-service bar if you want that cocktail in the afternoon or the evening or Saturday and Sunday brunch. I mean, it's really super-duper here at BRQ. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line and say hello to Doug Thompson, LSU national champion pitcher. Doug, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's good to talk to you, TK. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I mean, what a night of emotion last night in Sulphur. Of course, your son Cam is a part of the Catholic High baseball team. Describe, if you can, the emotions that you felt as a dad whose son's on the team and as a baseball guy who, is a national champion, played pro ball the whole bit. Tell us what it was like, Doug, to be in Sulphur last night.
Yeah, I think the emotion was more just the baseball fan in me. I mean, there's nowhere you could look without people being on the. It was as exciting as it could possibly be, with two of the best high school baseball programs in South Louisiana, maybe even the southeastern region. It just obviously the inevitable two in the first inning, and Catholic putting up 13 scoreless or 14 scoreless after the first inning. Brother Martin going 10 scoreless after the fourth inning. Just a remarkable back and forth game, a heavyweight battle. And of course, Catholic had a very rare double dog pile, which is, you don't see that one very often, but one of the most, Tommy, baseball is the greatest game on earth. There's no question about it, because no matter how much you watch, you'll never see it all. And for me personally, last night, that was another example of I've just never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, I saw Doug, Cam, your son, shin guards and all that, run out there to celebrate, and then like, whoa, wait a minute, what? That was just I'm so glad for the young man that didn't, run the first, that it worked out at Catholic High won, because he would have gone in the record books like the center for Shaw, who threw the helmet and it cost them a state championship just a few months ago in the Dome. It would have been like that, and that's a hard thing to live with. So at least the baseball gods equaled things out, took care of it, and made sure Catholic High won the game. But what is it about Catholic High, Doug? You've been around winning programs. You won, obviously a national championship at LSU in '97. This is now 3 state championships in a row over there at Catholic. What is it about what Coach Brad Bass and his staff and, have built?
Yeah, I think it starts with Brad Bass. I mean, there's a consistent plan. There's a system, Ronnie. Sounding familiar yet?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many similarities from what we watched at LSU back in the late 90s. And, of course, I'm not trying to measure Brad Bass to Skip Bertman. I'm more talking about the similarities of what I see. The first day of practice, as I'm walking up to the field, I hear Brad Bass on the microphone, on the PA announcer, talking about the details of different cuts and relays. And I immediately was kind of reminiscing of Coach Bertman, and because that's how, of course, he used to communicate with us during practice. But there's a system in place. They're very faith-based. They talk a lot about loving each other. They talk a lot about sticking together, the belief. And it's honestly all, some of it's kind of kitschy and some of it's cliche. But when you really think about it, Ronnie, those championship teams that you were blessed to be a part of, there was really love there. Like if you look back at those teams, you really did love on every one of your teammates, even the jerks. They were your buddies too, right? So, and this team, this Catholic High team, you could tell. I used to feel in 1997 with LSU that if we went behind 3-0 in the first inning, I honestly believed that we were going to win the game. Like, I'm not just saying that here on the radio because it makes sense, right? I honestly, truly never thought that we were going to lose the game. And I felt that vibe with this squad. Like, they're 37-5 on the year. Honestly, a couple of those games are really flukish type things that happen. But it's a system and it's a program. And then the other thing, man, you create that type of culture. Now you have 400 boys in your class, and now you've got kids all over Baton Rouge wanting to be at Catholic High. So, 12 seniors will graduate. That's one thing, Ronnie. That was a major, major difference between those two teams. Bronson Lamont was the only senior for Brother Martin on the field in their starting 9. And Catholic had, 7 guys out there who were seniors and a senior on the mound and 3 senior pinch runners. I mean, it was just, they were just blessed with an abundance of leadership. And next year, they'll have 7 or 8 juniors, but they'll have, 15 seniors, 15 sophomores and 16 juniors. Like, my point is, I don't know that this Catholic High story is going to end anytime soon.
Talking with Doug Thompson, former LSU, of course, national champion pitcher and proud papa of a state champion over at Catholic High Baton Rouge, and one of the most bizarre endings to a game you've ever seen in your life, where Catholic High thought they won it in the bottom of the 9th on a bases-loaded walk, but the batter did not run to first, and so the inning ended, and then they won it in the bottom of the 15th. All right, let's go from a great story to a not-so-great story. What people ask you, Doug, all the time, what's going on with LSU? You win the national championship last year for the second time in 3 years. You're 8-0, number 1 or 2 in the country in the polls in February, and then all of a sudden now losing record, and they, on paper, are the worst LSU baseball team in at least the last 42 years since Skip Pertman arrived in Baton Rouge in 1984. This is going to be the worst statistical team in a lot of different ways, record and otherwise, that LSU baseball has ever had. And best you can, what happened?
Well, first of all, losing your Saturday and your best hitter in Jake Brown, and by the way, tremendous amount of leadership also in Jake Brown, obviously didn't help. Right? You can survive some injuries over the course of the year, but when you talk about 2 of your cornerstones, that's difficult. That's number 1. Number 2, look. First of all, we have the right guy in the right place. Jay Johnson has proven that he's one of the best college baseball coaches in the country. He is 2 for 4 in the portal. I mean, like, Coach Bertman and I were talking the other day, and he's like, remember, like, even back when I coached, when you bring in 12 to 15 new faces, not all of them are going to be contributors to the program. 5 to 7 are going to end up panning out to get on the field and actually be a contributor. But you're not always going to nail them all. And I think, honestly, Ronnie, in this day and age, it's harder. It's harder to nail them all. I think there's deals going on that with people before they're supposed to. I think that players, are leveraging themselves, and over. I know certain players, like a buddy of mine's kid. I won't name the college he played for, but it's a Northeastern school. His son hit 2 home runs against a much bigger school on the East Coast, and the head coach and the hitting coach followed that kid on Twitter after the game. Like, it's subtle things like that I think are happening, and it's just making it really tough for teams like LSU that are in Omaha until the very end to jump into the portal and try to figure out who's still available and whatnot. It's the Wild West still in terms of shaping your roster because of this relatively new transfer portal. And then obviously NIL is now a factor as well. And Jay Johnson is going to need money. Like, I know the community that we live in. I know that, there's not many people out there that really want to dive into their pocket and help in terms of getting more money to the next shortstop. But the truth of the matter is, and this goes for all sports, if LSU doesn't have funding for the players on top of the profit share. On top of the profit share, it's really just going to be tough to compete in the toughest conference in the country. So that goes for all sports. So football, it looks like they got some funding. Let's see what happens. If they're still playing at the end of the year, then I think the point is proven that it's all about money. Unfortunately, now, Ronnie, it's all about money. I do think that the 5 and 5 they're about to put in place will help a lot of this, because there won't be so much movement and it won't be so difficult to track these guys. But at the end of the day, the community, on top of, in some way, shape, or form, the community is going to have to figure out a way to come together and generate some funding on top of what the guaranteed profit share is for all the SEC schools, which next year I think is going to be right around 21 million, 21.4, something like that.
LSU this past year, 25-26 school year, it's the first time since 1976 that LSU baseball, basketball, and football had below 500 records in conference play. And they all spent a ton of money, But all right, Dougie. Well, look, man, congratulations on the double dog pile and Cam getting that ring. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day.
Tell Cam we got that bullpen spot for him for the Rougarou. We're waiting on him for this summer now. Get that work in. All right, we will take a break. Be back more from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue here in Baton Rouge, the home of the best brunch in town. Place is packed. There's all kinds of folks here because of graduation going on. It's the official LSU caterers, BRQ, of LSU Athletics, and they have an amazing brunch every Saturday, Sunday from 10:30 to 3. So come check it out. When we return, we'll talk to Patrick Scallon with riveroflifecapsules.com. And then coming up at 11:30-ish, Paul Guille, the former teammate of Tommy Chrysands at Southeastern, but more importantly, he is the head of officials of umpiring for the Southeastern Conference. He just got inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame up in Overland Park, Kansas this past February. He's from New Orleans. We'll talk to him. He'll tell us about what's going to happen next week as we're going to have the ball strike system challenge in Hoover. We'll talk to him about that and find out what the system is. Like when you see that umpire on the field, who's he talking to and what's going on and how many people are back there and what's the equipment like and how many games are they monitoring in Birmingham? We'll get all of that through Paul Guille, the Hall of Fame college baseball umpire. That's coming up in about 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Sports Shorts will continue right after this.
Sports Shorts Radio.
And welcome back, everyone. Short segment over here over at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue. Ronnie Rance, Tommy Krysan, and Hunter McCann. Don't forget that time of the year. We are literally just over 2 weeks away from Texas Collegiate League baseball action over in Lake Charles. The Lake Charles Gumbo Gators playing their home games at the Joe over at Joe Miller Ballpark on the campus of McNeese. And, oh, by the way, speaking of McNeese, they won first two games this week over at the Southland Conference Tournament. The quad that they're playing in is over at the Southeastern in Hammond. They knocked off the Lions last night. So 2-0. They're in the driver's seat. They just have to win one more to punch their ticket to next week's 2 out of 3 finals in the Southland. And then, of course, the Baton Rouge Rougarou playing over at Pete Goolsby Field in downtown Baton Rouge. You can get tickets for both at brrougarou.com and over at gumbogators.com. And by the way, the Gumbo Gators have an all-you-can-eat season ticket. Literally sit in the stands, name on the seat. They bring the food to you, the waiters, and you get 2 alcoholic beverages per each game as well, and all you can eat. Tommy and
we're going to Lake Charles.
And
man.
Hunter, no. You can buy your ticket because I'll give you a free ticket to get in, but I'm not paying for y'all to eat. That's for sure. I mean, my goodness, y'all will wipe me out. All right, let's go to the phone lines right now. We got a special guest joining us, Patrick Scallon. Joins us from riveroflifecapsules.com. And Patrick, somebody out there listening says, well, how do I know if I'm a customer? How do I know if I'm somebody that should take River of Life capsules? What would you say?
Hey, good morning, guys. So the long story short is anyone, even living today, any type of joint pain, any type of arthritis, any type of inflammatory issue, any pain whatsoever, you have 2 choices. You can either get something that's not good for you, or you can get something that's good for you. So River of Life, we have the top 3 ingredients in the world for pain relief, which have been proven to be as good as anything you can get at any drugstore or any store. So if you're having pain, if you have inflammatory issues, if you're having, and you just want to be healthy in your life, you want to reduce stress, just go to riveroflifecapsules.com. It's a game changer. It has neuroprotective effect on your cells. Imagine taking a pain reliever. You got 2. You got one on the right, which is good for you, one on the left, which is bad for you. You take the one on the right, which is River of Life capsules, and it protects your cells while it gives you pain relief. It's a game changer, everybody. And we've seen thousands of people. Thousands are on it. They're doing great. 6 months, year, 2 years. When you take it, just keep getting better. So you improve your health, you improve your life, and you're taking the top 3 ingredients for health and pain relief and inflammation in the world. Go to riveroflifecapsules.com.
Appreciate it.
You'll never be disappointed. You'll love it. And again, it also kills all kinds of negative cells for your body and your mind. It'll help you. riveroflifecapsules.com.
All right, Patrick, appreciate it. Tommy Krysan, Hunter McCann, Ronnie Rance back here over at BRQ. By the way, high school state championships, you can watch them a number of different ways. For folks that are wondering, you can go to the NFHS network. You can go to the LHSAA network through their app, which you can go through Roku and Fire Stick and all that kind of stuff. The LHSAA network app definitely should download that. And then, of course, if you want trying to do it on your phone, it's NFHS. And then you can also on YourView, Cox Cable Channel 4 and YourView are some ways that you can watch the state championship games that are going on. NBA playoffs, are you into it, Hunter? Are we following it?
Yeah,
what San Antonio's doing is pretty
it's
impressive.
Incredible. I mean, it's just not been, in my opinion, the NBA playoffs, in my opinion, are the least entertaining of all playoffs. Maybe that's just a personal preference. Basketball doesn't get me as juiced when it's not collegiate basketball as some people. But, I mean, the Pistons and Cavaliers series has been pretty incredible. They had that overtime battle on Wednesday that was pretty great.
Got a game 7 tomorrow.
Yes, and that'll be the highlight because after the Pistons knocked off the Cavs yesterday on the road, where the Cavs were, I think, 3.5 or 4.5 point favorites, the Pistons won by 21 points. It'll be a very interesting game 7 for the number 1 seed Pistons. So, there's some fun moments here in game 7s and whatnot, but I don't know. Tommy, I don't know if you have a similar opinion to me, but the NBA just isn't my cup of tea sometimes.
I don't need to have Tommy bash on the NBA. We know he's going to bash on it, but I
Look at
will.
Jim smirking.
I will say this: the Western Conference Finals is going to pit the best two teams.
Yeah, Spurs and Thunder without a
Oklahoma
doubt.
City and San Antonio. And look, you're going to see with San Antonio in this finals many, many times as long as Wembanyama stays healthy, right? So you got Oklahoma City, who's won 64 games this year, taking on 62 wins San Antonio. That series starts on Monday. And, of course, you've got the finals today.
Game 7 tomorrow.
Game 7 tomorrow.
Yeah, the winner will go play the Knicks, who sweep the 76ers. So, I mean, New York's had over almost a week of rest before they even get started, more than a week of rest before they get started. So it's just not for me. But,
Cavs and Pistons will do battle tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on Prime. You can watch that on the Prime app. And then, of course, the winner will take on, as you mentioned, the Knicks. And, of course, the Pistons, 60-win team. So, you know, they are at home. They're going to be the favorite. They're 4.5-point favorite against Cleveland tomorrow. No LeBron, and that doesn't make people that upset. How much longer does LeBron play, in your opinion? I mean, it's incredible what he's doing at his age.
I mean, he's superseded every time that someone's asked me this question. I feel like I said, by the end of 2025, he would be done, and here we are at the end of 2026.
He's 41. He'll be 42 in December.
I have a feeling I have a feeling he plays next season, and then it comes down to one last decision because I think he's got 2 left in him. I think he played fine this year. Really, a lot of people down the stretch gave a lot of criticism to his style of play, but he's still playing better than 75% of the players in the league at 41 years old. So I'd say 2 more years.
All right, we are over here at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue in Baton Rouge. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Paul Guille, the head of umpires, will join us to talk a little SEC baseball and to tell us the rule changes and things, and really exciting. Major League Baseball and SEC working together for next week's tournament. But before we do so, that segment brought to you by?
Yeah, of course, Gage, because we're getting inching closer to hurricane season. You want to make sure your home and business is protected with a Cummins standby generator from Gage. They have generators that are in stock. They can be installed in just a few weeks, and you can trust Gage. They've been in business since 1980, and they're the #1 Cummins standby generator dealer in the Gulf South. So if you want to protect your home and business this hurricane season and every season in between, contact Gage at 225-753-4243, or you visit them online at gage.cloud. And remember, you can get all my best bets in NBA for the playoffs, MLB, WNBA, and everything in between over at WBRZ.com. I have picks posted in the next hour or so, and all those, including the MLB, where we're 52-25 to start the MLB season. Doing good so far, so we'll see if we can continue that momentum. That's WBRZ.com. Click best bets.
By the way, LSU, Florida, a -220.
-225 on the money line is Florida. Florida 2.5 run favorite.
Wow. As -220. You would never have Tommy take that bet, but you should. We'll take a break. Be back with Paul Guille, the head of SEC umpires, next.
Back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you over in Baton Rouge at BRQ Seafood and Barbecue, where we're doing our show from 10 to noon today. Great restaurant. Place is packed because of high school graduations, and just a great brunch as well, 10:30 to 3 Saturday and Sunday. And those of you listening on ESPN Radio in Lake Charles, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge, I'm joined by Tommy Krysan and Hunter McCann as well. And joining us is a special guest. This guest courtesy of the Baton Rouge Rougarou. Go to brrougarou.com for your tickets for this upcoming season. Paul Guille, the head of umpires and officials for the Southland, SEC, Ohio Valley. I don't know. I'm sure Big South something. I'm sure something I'm forgetting. What's going on, Paul? How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Tommy. I'm doing well. Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
First off, before we get into it, congratulations on being inducted, the 13th umpire all time to be inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame. That the ceremony was this past February up in Overland Park, Kansas. Had to be a big thrill for you.
That was obviously quite a surprise when got the phone call that I was on the short list and being inducted, and then obviously being a participant in the festivities. It was quite an honor. A lot of people obviously behind the scenes that helped me get there, not just in my umpiring career, but in the coordinator segment as well, contributions to the game. So I'm quite humble and quite honored.
All right, so the old saying is those who can't teach or those who can't become umpires. But in your case, and give us the scouting report, Tommy, what is a Paul Guille, 6 homers and 30 games in 1982? What kind of player was he? Break it down for us from a scouting standpoint.
Well, he started the year off with like 6 home runs. He was literally batting like 410, 390. And then tax time came, and I don't think he got another hit. But it was great to be a teammate. I texted him after I heard he was in the Hall of Fame, and we've been friends for a very long time. But Paul was a good guy to have as a teammate. He was on fire for about 3.5 weeks, but then the fire went out. So, am I right, Paul?
Well, Tommy will tell you. I'd like to say, you said 30 games, and we're playing 56 now. And Tommy, I don't remember what exactly we had on the schedule back then, but we had an inordinate amount of rain that spring, and we lost, as Tommy knows, well over 20 games.
Wow.
So I'd like to say that it rained on my parade during that time.
It cooled you. The weather cooled you off. That's what it was.
The weather cooled me off.
Did we not have tarps?
So
did we not have tarps over there?
Tommy? Yeah, we did.
Oh.
Well, Tommy will tell you when we used to pick rocks out the infield at the end of practice all the time. Things are a little different today.
We were not in a conference, so there was no urgency to try to reschedule the rainouts. And we played. I think we played 33 games that year out of 55 that were on the schedule.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah,
and 2 years before that, before Paul was with us, we had 68 games on the schedule and played all 68.
That's crazy. That is wild. All right, Paul. So you finished playing ball in '82. You become a coach for a year. Finished up school in '83, and then you decide to get into umpiring. How did that come about?
Well, all the way back to my youth days in the recreation department in Jefferson Parish outside of New Orleans. Always had an affinity for being around the officiating side. Was very fortunate where I grew up, be involved in rec leagues. And, at the time when you're doing rec leagues, you're doing a little bit of everything, scheduling, officiating, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. And it was something I developed a passion for. Obviously not the most skilled player, played a little junior college and then played with Tommy, like we said, and found it to be an excellent avenue to stay around the game was to be involved in officiating. So started working in the All-American League that summer that you're talking about in '83. And then that fall, and back in that day, Ronnie, you may recall, Tommy knows, the colleges could play each other. Nichols could play Southeastern, and Tulane could play UNO. In the fall, they were playing real games, as scrimmage games. And I happened to get involved with the local umpiring group. And at the time, Joe Brockhoff was at Tulane, Mike Knight at Nichols, and Ron Maestri, of course, at UNO. And I worked my way into 1984, getting on the college field in 1984, and things took off from there.
We're talking with Paul Guillet, the head of umpires and officials for the SEC and many other baseball conferences. What does that mean when you say that term, head of officials? Are you the one that's literally, are you the assignment secretary, or what all are your duties?
So the official title that they list everywhere is coordinator of umpires for the different conferences. And it involves, three main aspects. One is, or I should say four aspects: recruitment, retainment, education, and then Ronnie had just mentioned the assignment. I handle some 2,000 games, some 450 plus umpires from the East Coast to the West Coast, down to Miami, up to New York, all avenues, all college Division I conferences, and we assign those games. And the hardest thing we have to deal with is weather.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of weather across the country, and scheduling, rescheduling, and making sure we have somebody on each and every game. So education and training is probably the biggest thing. Obviously, there are a lot of rules in baseball, and as you know, there's a lot of technology today. We do a lot with pitch tracking, as I call it, pitch analysis. You see it in the game today, and I know we'll head down that path a little bit here, but it's been around the game for a number of years, and it's a big part of the education and training of calling balls and strikes.
Did you happen to see the highlight of last night's Catholic Brother Martin game, how that ended?
I know it ended much later than everybody anticipated.
That's right. Have you ever had a scenario similar to that where, obviously for those that we've talked about it numerous times, but bottom of the ninth tie ball game, Catholic High has the walk-off walk with the bases loaded and 2 outs to win the game, but the runner did not go to first base. Instead, they immediately dogpiled in front of the mound. Eventually, he was called out, and they went to extra innings. Now, Catholic mercifully won the game in the bottom of the 15th, and so all's right in the world. But have you ever had something crazy that reminded you of when you saw the video?
Absolutely, and I got sent that video like 15 minutes after, because people were asking me questions. And of course, we've got 3 sets of rules that we have to deal with. We've got, in that particular situation, you have federation rules for high school, and then we've got an NCAA for collegiate baseball, and then we've got what we call OBR, official rules of baseball rules for the major league. Yes, we have dealt with situations, not in that exact scenario, where a batter runner did not go to first base after receiving a walk, but we have dealt with scenarios where you had multiple runners on base that did not advance to the next base in that type of situation. And obviously, you've got different rules across the landscape that govern the different levels of play.
My question is they got it right, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and the other thing is that this is the question that everybody has, and I'm sure you were asked. It's up to the discretion of the umpire, correct, relative to, like in this case, they dogpiled immediately about 10, 15 seconds after dogpile, and people realize, oh, wait, you got to run to first. And, of course, he tries to get up and go run to first, and at that point they called him out. Is there sort of a timeline, or what's the rule there to decide, like if someone messes up and then realizes, oh, I need to run to first, what's the time? How does that work?
Well, the rule lets it, and I can speak more specifically to, collegiate baseball.
Right. Sure.
I don't try to get into federation, because I haven't studied that rule book in some 40 plus years. But in the collegiate game, the rule that exists is called abandon, and it's a play where, in the judgment of the umpires, a runner believing that either that they do not have to advance to the next base. They can believe they have been put out, or for another reason, in this case, a celebration, they believe that they didn't have to advance, and the umpire would then judge at their discretion when the abandonment occurred. And of course, I'm with a couple umpires right now, and we discussed it. And I'm with other folks on the telephone. Once the dog pile they described, when that batter runner headed back to the middle of the infield and did not try to advance, and then is surrounded by players, touched by players, anything, then you're going to have a possible scenario of physical assistance. If somebody was
Right.
to grab them and throw them towards first base, and then that would constitute an out as well. But obviously, prior to that, the abandonment judgment had come into place.
Well,
And again, that's upon the umpire when they feel like they've abandoned their right to advance to the next base.
all right, let's we're visiting with Paul Guille, the head of officials and umpiring and everything for the SEC. Let's talk about next week. Exciting stuff. Major League Baseball and you guys are coming together. There's the automated ball strike challenge system. Is this gonna work exactly like the major leagues? Other than they only have 2 challenges, you're gonna allow 3. Why the difference?
To address the first part of your statement there, Ronnie, you're absolutely correct. Other than 2 challenges versus 3, this is Major League Baseball's technology. In our partnership, we work on many different things with Major League Baseball. We are emulating, and with their assistance, they are part of this. They have watched the process. They have helped us with the process. They've helped us install all the software. It is their software that we're using, their technology along with Hawkeye for the pitch recognition. So we are doing that. The reason for 2 versus 3, Ronnie, I want everybody to understand this is an experiment. This is an experimental rule that we had to go to the NCAA and ask for permission to experiment with ABS in the SEC tournament. And so we have never thrown a pitch. We have never played a game with a challenge system. So we thought it was in the best spirit of fair play, since somebody might make a mistake, was to give them, kind of 1 every 3 innings. We thought that would fit with the collegiate game, since we've never really practiced with it. But I'd like to back up for a second, if you would. We've been working on this for 4 years, since we really started getting into pitch analysis and collection. And there's companies out there like Hawkeye, TrackMan, and some others that identify the pitches. You've heard all the information on it. We've been working with them. We went up to New York. We've working on video review the first time, and then now on ABS. And as they were implementing this and executing it in the minor league, we've been collecting information and conversing with them, exchanging ideas. And once they got to the point where they were ready to implement into the major league, then we were able to take the information that we've collected, along with the infrastructure that's been developed. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, like, our internal structure here, our technology team that exists within the SEC. This isn't something we woke up on February 1st and said, hey, let's do ABS. This started, with conversations with our coaches at the meeting last September, that we have been down this path. What do you think about doing this during a tournament? The coaches were, hey, let's try it. We've got the resources. We've got the team, the infrastructure. And then obviously the team here at the SEC office picked up the ball and started running with it. I mean, there are camera installations. There's coax cable technology and everything that goes into it. And then, of course, we had to get the experimental rule in place. So we didn't put the switch on February 1st and say, hey, let's throw that out there with some radar to see if we can do ball strike. It's been a plan. It's been planned out. It's been put in place. And then, of course, Major League Baseball has been a great partner of sharing everything with us. We have their regulations And then obviously we've been calling upon them and asking them a lot of questions as we get closer and closer to execution and implementation.
Paul, we definitely want to have you back to talk a little more about this, but also I want to talk the next time we chat, maybe in the next week or the week after. I want to talk about, behind the scenes. How many people are there in the, reviewing these cameras and these challenges, and what's that like, back in Birmingham and all that? Get a peek behind the curtain a little bit, but really appreciate you taking time to visit with us. Really excited about the automated ball strike challenge system next week, and we'll see how it goes. Paul Guille, the head of umpires for the SEC and every other conference under the sun. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate y'all asking.
All right. There we'll visit with the umpiring Hall of Famer in the coming weeks to get even a little bit more information. We will take a break, be back with the wrap things up from BRQ Seafood and Barbecue right after this.
Welcome back to Sports Shorts Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. Ronnie Rance here with you alongside Hunter McCann and Tommy Chrysan. We are finishing up over here at BRQ. Special thanks to Paul Guille, Doug Thompson. We also had Jeff Palermo, who's on the call for the championships. Little PGA golf update. What a crazy week it is in the PGA, Tommy. I mean, the top, your 1 through 3 is separated by 1 through 10 is separated by 2 strokes. 1 through 20 is separated by 3. I mean, it's anybody's guess who's going to win today with the first major or one of the majors.
Very crowded leaderboard, stacked in there. It's going to be fun. right outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so give you an update over there. You have McNeely and Smalley that are both 4 under, a log jam of folks that are 3 under. Scheffler is tied for 10th. He's only 2 back of the lead. And Sam Burns, nice round today. He's tied for 19th, but he's only 3 back. He's tied for 19th, but he's 3 back of the lead. So Scheffler and Burns are 2 of the ones that I'm kind of pulling for and watching as well. Special thanks to everyone that stopped by over here. Baton Rouge Rougarou and Lake Charles Gumbo Gator season is right around the corner. And oh, by the way, the Rougarou have a celebrity golf tournament this coming Monday, 10 o'clock over at the Island Golf Course. 2 teams still left, only $600. Go to brrougarou.com. We'll see you next week, everybody.